let us all do we can to build a better future. Shout out to our good friend Case Study QB, who's doing a lot of good work on Twitter, sitting through corporate media. But I found these videos to be very disturbing and very upsetting because apparently, you know, in this first video, they talk about why Republicans are constantly abusing Democrats. And then in the next follow-up videos, it's corporate media telling us to take it. And it's just like the American people. It's not one political party having power of the other. It's the American people that are in an abusive relationship. We're constantly being screwed over. We don't have Medicare for all. We don't have student debt forgiveness. We don't have affordable college. We don't have free college. We're not investing into our infrastructure. We're refusing to do anything about climate change. We have people being evicted from their homes and apartments even as we speak. We're still stuck in regime change wars. There's nothing being done to help us fight against this pandemic. And there's so many other problems that we're dealing with. No universal basic income, no increase in wages. And it's just, we got a corrupt government that's owned by the top 1%, thanks to Citizens United and McCutcheon's decision. But let's play this first video. And honestly, I'm kind of speechless with this. Daniel, I don't know if you saw this either, but everyone sit back because it's going to be a doozy.
Can you explain to just our viewers who are on the progressive side and young viewers, I get asked by this even by my own kids, why don't Democrats do that? Why do Democrats always seem to, it's almost sort of like they're sort of in an abusive relationship where they think if they just cook a better meal, they won't get clicks. Can you explain why Democrats refuse to do the things that Republicans would do if they were in y'all's position?
Well, I can just say that I think there is some, sort of past notion of a Senate where you could have good policy discussions and good people on both sides would come together. But let's not forget that the vast majority of these senators refused to vote to convict Donald Trump. The vast majority of them did not say anything in the months leading up to January 6th. The vast majority have not been willing to do things that are incredibly popular in their own districts. And so I don't think that there's suddenly going to be some kumbaya moment where they're going to
Can we pause it just super quick?
Yeah, hold on, because there's an announcement I want to say too. But go ahead, Daniel, you start first, buddy.
The question that is being asked is, why do Democrats act like abused spouses? And why do they think and act like if they make one more good meal, all will be different? And she literally is giving in real time the same answer that you would expect out of an abused spouse. Oh, well, it's very difficult to talk to him. He gets really moody if I say things. So I just want to stay back and keep making him one more good meal.
Hold on, Dan, because I got a good follow-up to that statement. You may notice, in case some of you may not have been paying attention, but she was blinking really fast. All I know is blink a couple of times if you need help. Send help. Pramila Jayapal, keep on blinking. Let us know. Keep on blinking fast if you need help, because we'll go ahead and help, because apparently the GOP is abusing us. But at the same time, too, it's the Democrats that are abusing us, too.
Well, she's saying
it's a cycle of abuse.
You know what this is? This is, hey, my current boyfriend may not be the best. No. But my ex-boyfriend is much worse.
Hold on. Here's how it is. Here, this is a translation. This is my translation of Pramila Jayapal right now answering the question. Everything's fine. Send help. Everything's fine. Everything's working great. Don't worry about it. Send help. Send help. Please send help. No, everything's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Everything's good. Everything's good. Everything's nice. We want less taxes too. Send help. Send help. Send help. Okay, that's not funny, but anyways, let's play the rest of that video.
Different coffee and suddenly decide they want to get on the same page about delivering for working people. And that's what I think is so essential, because, Joy, we've got to deliver. We can't go back to voters in 2 years and say, I'm sorry, a parliamentarian who is doing her job, but she's unelected.
Like
thank you. The rest of us who are elected to these positions, deliver promises to voters. We can't go back to.
Always be super careful about the buts. The buts will make or break a situation. She's saying she's unelected. She doesn't represent this stuff. It's not relevant. But it's also okay and understandable why she's doing this thing. That's called speaking out of both sides of your mouth.
There is that, speaking out of your butt.
It's called having your cake and eating it too and hoping your boyfriend doesn't get upset.
Let's play the rest of that. There's 2 more
voters and
seconds.
say, I'm sorry, we couldn't do it because the parliamentarian ruled we couldn't do it. That's just not going to fly for 27 million people.
It's going to be more than 27 million.
To put food on the table and earn a decent wage.
Okay, so again, here's there's a couple problems. Go ahead.
The only part of the question that she addressed had to do with food.
Yeah. So here's my problem with Pramila Jayapal's answer. All right, Democrats, what are you doing differently? So when Jimmy Dore, Brianna Joy Gray, Kyle Kalinske, and a few other commentators, as well as a few other heroic individuals, came together for Force the Vote and had not only you, but 14 of your other fellow colleagues in the House on the Force the Vote petition, not a single one of you acknowledged the Force the Vote town hall. Not a single one of you even acknowledged the protests where Nico House, the Convo Couch, Jackson Hinkle, Frank Analysis, where they were all there, as well as a few other organizations were there too. See, the thing is, Democrats, you talk a good game, but you are pretty much abusers yourselves. You also let people down when we need you to fight the most. You're willing to take the abuse from the GOP and senior Democratic leadership. You're not holding their feet to the fire. I remember when AOC did that protest in front of Nancy Pelosi's office. Hey, AOC, are you going to do that again? Hey, Pramila Jayapal, are you going to do that? Because at this point right now, it seems like good old Nancy Pelosi doesn't care about what the Senate parliamentarian is doing. Joe Manchin doesn't seem to care. There's only a handful of you guys, and this is what happens to Democrats and progressives when you give up your power and trust your abusers in the Democratic Party, and then at the same time too, your abusers in the Democratic Party take the same abuse or use it at work together in creating more violence towards American citizens. Because let's face it, the DNC and RNC are well-behaved prostitutes to their main pimps, which is corporations, hedge fund managers, Wall Street executives. But hold on, Dan, corporate media is going to give us an important message. We just got to take it. We just got to take the abuse.
Just bend over,
and that's
guys.
Progressives.
You know who else takes it? That metaphorical spouse that we talked about in the proof. It's weird how spot on like NBC was with that question, even though there's no follow up, as always.
Daniel, hold on, because MSNBC is going to tell us to take it. Let's play that video from MSDNC.
Everyone, loosen your pants. Let's hear it.
Sounds simple enough. Override the parliamentarian, and it can be done. But last week, White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain told Joy Reid that Vice President Kamala Harris would not overrule the Senate parliamentarian. White House announced last week they wouldn't do that. And today, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said it again.
Well, the decision for the vice president to vote to overrule or to take a step to overrule is not a simple decision. It would also require 50 votes. As you know, it's not a one-step decision. And the president and the vice president both respect the history of the Senate. They are both formally served in the Senate, and that's not an action we intend to take.
And so even with the White House repeatedly saying, no, Vice President Harris will not overrule the Senate parliamentarian, members of the House of Representatives continue to push for that to happen. Here is Congresswoman Jayapal with Joy Reid earlier tonight.
I think that the parliamentarian should be overruled. That is not unprecedented, as you know. Hubert Humphrey did it in 1967 and 1969. Roosevelt did it in 1975. These are certainly unprecedented times where we could thank the parliamentarian for her opinion. It is an advisory opinion, and then we could still include it in the minimum wage bill.
Pramila Jayapal is absolutely right about all of that. The parliamentarian's opinion is just an advisory opinion, but she did misspeak there when she said that Vice President Roosevelt did it in 1975. She meant Vice President Rockefeller in 1974, but that's the last time it happened, 46 years ago. So there's nothing more rare in the United States Senate than overruling the parliamentarian.
How about functioning properly?
It was actually 47 years ago.
I don't care. Hold on. Can we pause for a second? Can we pause for a second? Hold on.
Really quick. I'm sorry, but it's factually incorrect to say that's the rarest thing that's happened. It's like 47 years. No precedent has ever been longer than 47 years in America.
But I have a serious issue with him saying that, saying like, well, it's so rare we don't do it at all. Why are we listening to an unelected official? I thought we're supposed to be the great bastion of freedom and liberty. We're supposed to be the standard. At least what was taught to me was that we should be the gold standard for other countries to build their democracies up. But yet, sadly, we have such an antiquated updated system. Other countries have updated their constitution. I know, hold on, before anyone types in the comment section about whether the constitution is alive or dead, I don't give a crap about this. Other democracies have updated and evolved their constitutions. Other countries have at least a multi-party parliamentary system. Now, look, there's no such thing as perfect. I want to be very clear about that. But my goodness, have we fallen back and we are stagnant, and yet we are relying on an unelected official, especially for those in the back. An unelected official has just dictated to the American people that you're not getting a wage increase. Her name is Elizabeth McDonough. She's a Senate parliamentarian, was put in 2012. So her decision, and then our Senate, which are supposed to be our elected officials, and the president and vice president, who are also our elected officials, just said, yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's what she decided. And no one's going to challenge it. And yet, okay, case in point, there's talk about Bernie doing it. I hope he has enough fuel in him to do a fight and follow through. But I'm tired of begging for crumbs. And our good friend Roger Meadows, who was messaged me yesterday about, talk about like when the last time we actually got a wage increase. I mentioned on the show, I'm tired of begging for crumbs. Let's have it $40 an hour. I'm tired of begging. No more begging. No more being polite. They want to play these screw around games and constantly kick the can down the road. Tired of trusting the DNC of doing the right thing. It's time for people to step up. Let's play the rest of that video.
Cannot work as a way of passing the minimum wage. Cannot possibly work because the Democrats don't have enough votes among the Democrats to pass the minimum wage after Vice President Harris.
All right, let's go ahead and just get set up so we can have that second video ready to go. Let's play it. Again, corporate media telling you, take the abuse.
Which they've already announced she's not going to do. But let's go along with it. If Vice President Harris overruled the Senate parliamentarian and allowed the minimum wage to be included in the reconciliation bill, then Mitch McConnell would simply offer an amendment to remove the minimum wage from the reconciliation bill. And the Democrats would lose that vote. At least two Democrats, Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, would vote against including the minimum wage in the reconciliation bill. And it is actually possible that a few other Democrats might join them in that vote.
Well, then we kick them out.
Earlier tonight, in an interview with Rachel Maddow, Senator Elizabeth Warren said this.
If we say that we're going to get rid of the filibuster, we are going to go with majority rule the way the Constitution holds for the House and the Senate, and we can actually pass the things we need to pass, then this isn't an issue.
So get rid of the filibuster is the suggestion from Senator Warren about how to pass the minimum wage. But there are ways to raise the minimum wage without using a budget reconciliation bill or getting rid of the Senate filibuster, because that's the way the minimum wage has always been raised, without using budget reconciliation and without getting rid of the Senate filibuster. And we are joined tonight.
What a jerk. Seriously, so I've never seen such an egomaniac that's basically telling the American people, you just accept this, keep your starvation wages, stay down, progressives, shut up, stop asking things. We're not Trump. We got rid of your orange boogeyman. To the vote blue no matter who crowd, to those larger YouTube platforms that promoted Biden and the Democrats that get the House and Senate, to all those that told you to hold your nose and vote Biden. Now that you lifted your nose and you still smell crap, was it worth it? Because they tried to impeach Trump not once but twice, and there's a good chance he's going to run again in 2024. And it looks like the Democrats are walking into a slaughter again, thanks to their good friends at corporate media, into 2022. And it's because they don't care.
You ever see that Far Side comic where it has a line? I think it's a Far Side comic where it's a line of cows walk in a line, like basically queuing up to enter into a slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
And then this one cow is cutting in line. This cow behind him just says something like, stop cutting, asshole, or something like that. That's where I feel like we're at right now. And on top of that, Lawrence O'Donnell is also not an elected official, and he is dictating to people, as Kit has rightly pointed out, shut up, take it. It's so weird how we had that first story that has that very specific language, and we're still sort of there. And all of these stories, now that I think about it, can all be told in terms of like, well, let me explain this to a kid by talking about spousal abuse.
Yeah.
Because these all go down the same line. It's shut up and take it. You're not going to get better. I'm not as bad as the other guy that's over there who was too orange and you didn't like him. And at the same time, parliamentarian. Now, here's a thing I want to throw out to the audience, and I want to ask you guys something. If the parliamentarian all of a sudden decided that tax cuts are probably not good for a budget reconciliation process, do you think Biden would go, okay, we'll take your word for it? If you think that Biden would take their word for it for a tax cut, type 1. If you think Biden would go, no, Kamala, do your thing, type 2.